Alright, so this video is literally just going to be a super quick update video. In the last one, I realized that I had done something wrong. Someone had posted a comment saying that I had put on the CJ Motorsports fuel return piece on incorrectly. So I wanted to show you that I actually fixed that, which I had done it so that the nut right there and that washer were on the top. You're supposed to sandwich it to actually get it to seal. So I did fix that, but for some reason, when I took my fuel tank, or my fuel pump out of the fuel tank, the floater for the oil, or the floater for the fuel level sensor was just gone. You could literally see in the last video when I put it in, it was attached to it, but when I pulled it out this time, it was just not there for whatever reason. So I have to get a new one of those before I put it back in again. So that's probably unfortunately floating around in my fuel tank currently. But at least I fixed a CJ Motorsports piece, so progress. It's like two directions at the same time, so it cancels out. I've made progress, but none at all at the same time. I do currently believe that the little piece that sits on the end of the level sensor is stuck behind the baffle plate. I'll just put in a little clip of me filming inside the fuel tank so you can understand, because most of you are probably like, if it's floating in there, just reach in and grab it out. It's not that simple. If it were that simple, I would have it already. There's a little hole in the rear baffle plate of the fuel pump area, and I believe somehow the little thing that clips onto the end of the fuel level sensor unclipped itself when I was putting it in. I might have tapped it against the side of the fuel tank, and it probably just had enough force to pop the clips off, and then its stupid little piece of shit self floated around to the back of the tank, went right through that hole, and is now wedged somewhere in the back. So I can't get it out. I'm just going to order a new level sensor with a little piece on the end. Hopefully that'll, fix my problem within a week or two, because I don't have to wait forever for that part to arrive. In other good news though, I do have all the pieces for the transmission now. So I got the beefier clutch fork, it actually arrived. And then yesterday, the chrome ollie pivot ball also arrived. I think is what they call it, is the pivot ball. But I've got two of those now, so I've got the short one if I need it, and the long one from the 03. Just gonna go ahead and show you everything real quick. I might as well, makes it easier. All right, so all the pieces are right here. This is the thicker arm. You can see that it's a little bit wider top to bottom. It's also a solid cast iron piece versus a stamped steel, so this is much more sturdy than this one is. This is the difference in the throwout bearings, by the way. This one is very open and hollow. This one's a little longer top to bottom. But it also is closed off in the front. It's less prone to failure, it looks like. So that's going to be going on as well. And then these are the pivot balls. So this is from the 04 and up 350Z transmission, and this is from the 03 350 transmission. This is the chrome ollie one. This one might also be chrome ollie. I don't know which one exactly I'm going to need. I believe this one is the one I need for the 03 transmission, like I said earlier. So that'll be the one that I'm going to start with. And if that doesn't fit in there right, then it'll be this one, clearly. And that came with two new pins for that. So one for the pivot ball, and then one for the throwout bearing to clip to the fork itself. Additionally, the boot, the original one, there's a little piece of rubber right in here. And that is designed so that this U-shaped bracket can fit inside of there. Since this is a solid piece now, there's no reason to have that chunk there, so I just cut it out. That way that'll go in and out super smooth. Anyways, that's ready to go in, so I'm going to throw it in the trans. Alright, so before I do anything, really, as far as assembly goes, I just want to double check and see which pivot ball is the correct one to use. See, I don't know if that's supposed to be able to go all the way to the base or not, but with this longer one, because that's hitting on the bell housing currently. See, that feels a little more correct, honestly. Actually, just to confirm. See, that allows for a lot more movement that way. That might be the correct pivot ball for this clutch fork. Okay, so upon further research on the topic, it is definitely supposed to be that this clutch fork is only used with the short pivot ball, and the stamped steel is only used with the long pivot ball. This one I bought thinking that since it's an 03 transmission, I would just put this in here. It would go back in place like everything else does, but I don't need it. So if anybody who is doing the same swap or has a 350Z and does not plan on going to this clutch fork and would like a stronger chromoly ball, I will give this to you. Just tell me. Anyways, this thing, fairly simple. I just got to put the clips in it now. So this guy goes down in here. Springs in place. Hopefully you can see that. All right, I'm gonna put some grease down in there. So I got this really delicious blue grease. I'll put some on this pivot ball too. I still gotta put Loctite on it. This is high temp grease, so it's meant to function even when things get hot, to keep them lubricated. And I'm gonna stick some of this down in there as well. All right, so I decided I'm gonna put red thread lock on the pivot ball because the old one backed out and snapped, and I refuse to let that happen a second time. Very generous amount. And we're gonna thread it in. Okay, so that little pivot ball needs to be torqued down to approximately 30 pounds of torque, foot-pounds of torque, I should say. I'm using a 19 mil socket. All right, I don't remember which way this boot goes. It probably doesn't matter. I'll just have it go in a direction, and if I don't like it, I can take it out. Next up, for sure, the throwout bearing itself goes on a certain way. So I believe the spring goes in there like that. This is how the ring is orientated. It doesn't matter which direction this is facing, but it doesn't matter how you put this on. So whatever direction these loops are pointing, they need to be facing down in correlation to the clutch fork. Those two spots there on the clip need to go into those grooves like that, and that's what holds the throwout bearing to the clutch fork itself. But I'm gonna go ahead and put a crap ton of grease inside of the throwout bearing. Okay, that is full of grease front to back. There's a little spot in there where there's a recession kind of about halfway through. It's called a grease trap, where it allows grease to get stuck inside of it. So I just try to put as much of that as I could in that area. Most important part here is to get that throwout bearing centered on there properly. Make sure the pivot ball is in the clip ring. And that moves back and forth. Then I'll just take some of this excess grease, spread it across the input shaft. That looks nice and new. I like that. It's so satisfying to see new grease, new parts, and have the reassurance that this is less likely to break. Not gonna say that it won't, just less likely. All right, that's gonna conclude it for this short little update video. It's literally not a whole lot. I just wanted to correct the mistake I made when doing the CJ Motorsports fuel return line thing, and then also update you guys that the transmission is now functional. I have all the pieces I need for that to go on to the 2J. So I have a couple of early out work shifts coming up, so I'll be off around like 3:30ish, 4 o'clock in the next couple of days. So I think, and I'm gonna say I think because every time I've said that I will get something done, something causes something else to happen that causes me to not get that thing done. But anyways, I think that I'll be able to get this engine in by the end of this week. So I'm gonna try to post this as soon as possible. I'll get the transmission bolted to the 2J, and then pretty much the day that happens, there's no other option other than to put it in the car, because I really don't have space to keep the two of those two pieces together in this garage. Like, look at this. This is my work area. This is what I've been working out of. And lastly, that'll be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. You guys know how it is now. Make the rest of your day a great day. Peace out. I will see you guys in the next video.